Have you ever looked around and wondered why you don't quite fit into the normal mold? We often picture geniuses as walking calculators or brilliant scientists scribbling equations on a glass board. But cognitive psychology reveals a fascinating truth. True intellectual horsepower rarely looks like a textbook. In fact, your most frustrating quirks might actually be the ultimate proof of a highly advanced brain. Stick around until number 9 because it's the one trait that almost every undercover genius possesses. Let's dive in. 1. You argue with yourself. It sounds a bit unhinged, doesn't it? But internally debating two completely opposite sides of a topic is a hallmark of high cognitive flexibility. While average thinkers rush to pick a side, highly intelligent brains construct multiple mental models simultaneously. You aren't being indecisive, you are stress testing reality. 2. Your workspace is a disaster. If your desk looks like a hurricane just rolled through, don't apologize. Studies from leading cognitive researchers suggest that a messy environment actively promotes creative problem solving. A chaotic space forces your brain to break out of conventional frameworks and connect completely unrelated ideas. Your mess is actually a manifestation of your mind's constant brainstorming. 3. You naturally zone out. People might call you absent-minded, but staring blankly at a wall is rarely a sign of an empty head. Neurologically, this is known as the default mode network shifting into overdrive. When you stop focusing on the outside world, your brain turns its massive processing power inward, organizing data, simulating future scenarios, and generating those sudden insights. 4. You find small talk agonizing. If chatting about the weather drains your energy, it is not because you lack social skills. High IQ individuals have an intense neurological craving for depth. Your cognitive engine wants to discuss concepts, theories, and motivations. Superficial chatter literally starves your brain of the mental stimulation it needs to stay engaged. 5. You suffer from intense bursts of obsession. Whether it's mastering a random historical era or learning the internal mechanics of a watch, you fall down rabbit holes. This happens because your dopamine receptors are highly sensitive to new information. You don't just learn, you consume topics entirely until your intellectual hunger is temporarily satisfied. 6. You constantly apologize for over-explaining. Have you ever caught yourself giving a 5-minute answer to a simple question? Intelligent people see the world in high definition. Where others see a simple fact, your brain sees the history, the context, and the countless variables involved. You over-explain because your mind perceives the immense complexity behind every single detail. 7. You use dark humor to cope. It turns out that laughing at the absurd or grim aspects of life isn't just a defense mechanism. Comprehending dark humor requires a massive amount of mental agility. Your brain has to rapidly process the context, decode the irony, and manage the emotional response all at the exact same time. It's essentially a heavy-duty workout for your prefrontal cortex. 8. You drastically underestimate your own intelligence. When you realize how vast the universe of knowledge actually is, you naturally assume you know very little. Ignorance breeds loud confidence, but true intelligence fosters quiet humility. Every time you think you aren't smart enough, it's simply your brain acknowledging the infinite amount of information still left to learn. 9. You observe before you ever participate. You rarely walk into a room and dominate the conversation immediately. Instead, you hang back. You read the micro-expressions, analyze the power dynamics, and listen to the unspoken tone of the room. This isn't shyness, it is supreme pattern recognition. Your brain is compiling a strategic map of your environment before making a single move. The profound realization here is that brilliance is rarely tidy. It's complex, contradictory, and often beautifully weird. Intelligence is not defined by a piece of paper or an academic award. It's measured by your endless curiosity, your capacity to adapt, and your willingness to view the world through a lens that others cannot even comprehend. So the next time you feel out of place or too caught up in your own head, take a deep breath and smile. You aren't falling behind, you're just operating on a completely different frequency. If this resonated with you, hit that subscribe button.